Thank you. Welcome to Uptime University. Glad to have everybody here. There was something I was reading online this morning that I thought was interesting as it relates to security, and I thought I'd bring it up, but and this is how sometimes we get into the mundane and boring stuff. But so I'm reading an article today about an application that Boeing applied for their new 740 or 777 airlines. And has anybody been on an airline yet that's got Wi-Fi enabled? Yeah. So all of those that you've been on so far have been retrofitted for those Wi-Fi connections. So now Boeing is saying, you know, when we build our new airplanes, and of course we're going to put Wi-Fi in, what we'd like to do is we'd like to incorporate it into the existing infrastructure so that we don't have to come back and retrofit things. And the actual application is such that the data that you'll be using through your Wi-Fi is going to be flowing over the same network that is used to control the airplane. So they're going to attempt to separate it, and the article didn't go too deeply into it, but I'm assuming by VLANs or some other technical ability. But what it comes down to is that basically if you get somebody who finds a vulnerability on that 777, has the ability to put some sort of malware in there and have it postponed to not take off or not become an exploit until the airplane takes off next time, not only do they get a chance to get off the plane, but then they don't really know who did it anyway. So anyway, I'm pretty sure this is an application that won't go anywhere, but these are the sorts of things that security people really have to take a look at, because not only does it become a financial issue, it could become a life and death issue. Not to worry you, not to scare you on things, but it was just something I read this morning that I thought was interesting. So, Uptime University, Chad did a great job of explaining a lot of the things that are going on, a lot of the issues that we see today as we're out in the field. And in fact, we've got a couple of our current customers here today, which is great. We have a lot of firewalls out there, and we see a lot of the exact things that Chad's talking about. We do what we call a managed firewall service. Sometimes putting a firewall in your location is difficult. If you don't have the IT expertise, if you don't have the time, if you don't have the knowledge, it's really kind of hard to get that in there and get it done right. And to be able to do all of the things that are necessary to put a piece of hardware in and make it function such that it gives you any sort of ROI. If you simply go out and buy a piece of hardware and put it in, plug it in, and hope that it does what it says it's going to do, that's not going to fly. We have some challenges. Network security has always been challenging. How do we deliver a comprehensive security product that protects against the sophisticated attacks and also work towards keeping the new attacks that come out? When we talk about the zero-day attacks, when we talk about attacks that we just don't know or we don't have a fix for yet, is there any way for us to provide protection against that without knowing either they're there or knowing what the fix is explicitly? And then some other people or some of the other companies have an initiative that said, hey, let's provide wireless guest access. How many people provide a wireless guest access in your facilities? Yeah. And so there's a real push for that, and customers who come into your facility are really asking for that. It's almost a necessity anymore. And how do you do that? Keep your network safe, keep that network safe, and yet still be able to provide functionality for everybody. The small and medium networks, we typically see them start to grow very slowly, but they start to sprawl. Typically what we'll find is that you'll end up with a firewall. Everybody puts a firewall at the entrance to their network that says, you know, we're going to allow these ports in, we're going to allow these ports out, and that's where it starts. From there, probably antivirus. How many people are running an antivirus gateway? I know Paul is running an antivirus gateway. Anybody else with a gateway actually at the entrance to your network as opposed to maybe on the desktop or on the server level? Okay, excellent. So you probably have an appliance for that and a server that does maybe some of the DAT files, maybe distribute some of those to your remote or your workstations as well. Web filtering. Does anybody do web filtering, content filtering, trying to keep the bad stuff out, keep people from going to websites that they're not supposed to? So we've got an application, or we've got an appliance for that. We've also got an appliance for your Wi-Fi, something that may have come as an afterthought after you've already got a network in. Now today, when you're starting from scratch, you probably don't do that as an afterthought, but for networks that were built 10 years ago, probably wasn't built with Wi-Fi in mind. So that's an afterthought you put in, either an appliance or as an application that's doing some security on that allows you to serve those clients. Of course, you have to have a switch to connect all those devices together. And some of you may even have like a WAN accelerator that allows you to transfer data more compactly, maybe a little faster across your WAN if you've got remote locations. And then finally, VPN. How many people allow your customers, not your customers, your employees to get in remotely from home to do work? Yep. So it's great in South Dakota when we get those snow days because your employees can work from home, but at the same time, it gives another door to your network that gives those hackers that Chad was talking about another way to get in. So actually, so now we've got all of this hardware all over our network. A couple of things we have to do there. One, we have to make sure all that hardware is working. Two, it's got to log somewhere because if we're not logging that information, it doesn't do us any good if we don't know what's going on within that. Three, you're probably doing maintenance on each and every one of those. Not only do you have to buy that web filtering, like you know, the big one right now I hear all the time, in fact I heard on the way here, was Barracuda. Great appliance, nice piece of hardware, have to pay for it, and then you have to pay on that maintenance. You have to keep that the maintenance up so that you get those subscriptions, so that you get the content filtering, and so you get the warranty on it. You have to do that on the firewalls, the antivirus, the VPNs, the WAN accelerators, all that hardware. So what we did was we took a look and we said, you know, how can we help companies with all of this hardware, the maintenance, the money that we spend, how can we make that a little simpler and provide the system that's just as secure? And what we came up with, and you've heard it a couple of times today with the umbrella, and you saw the logo back there on the table, we partnered with Fortinet. Fortinet makes a great UTMs. Anybody heard of UTM, or maybe another term for it is next generation firewall? It's all kind of marketing speak that really started with, now if there's anything wrong with marketing, but that all kind of started with Palo Alto. And as they started to coin those terms, a lot of the industry picked it up and said, yeah, we do that same thing. So we provide a Fortigate Utm, or Unified Threat Management, that does a number of things within a single utility. We're able to do the firewalling, we're able to do routing, we're able to do antivirus at the gateway, web content filtering, WAN optimization, and application control. Application control is one of those things we didn't talk about as having a different piece of hardware there, because it typically is usually done at the gateway level anyway. But this allows us to watch applications as they jump from port to port, trying to get in and trying to get out of your network. Regardless of actually what port they're using, we can see the application and determine whether or not it should be used. One of the great examples is that our marketing department absolutely has to have access to things like Twitter, Facebook. They have to do marketing in the social media areas, but we don't want Julie constantly out there playing Farmville. We don't want them chatting, and so we're able to look at that traffic and inspect it. What we can also do is we have built-in wireless controllers. So if you're providing wireless within your company as a something to your employees or something to your guest or a combination of both, we're able to do that with the same facilities, the same security facilities as we can, whether it was a wired port as when it is wireless. We also provide an option for 3G or 4G backup for disaster recovery purposes. If your internet connection were to go down, that is a possibility. And then, of course, we have to hook that all up with a switch as well. So what we're able to do in a single box used to take 4, 5, 6, 7 boxes. And then we're able to do it really, really well and consolidate and take all that information and put it together and correlate things as they happen on those boxes. So Unified Threat Management, what is it? It's really a combination of different things, including application control, being able to identify what applications are running through your network, advanced threat protection, looking at things that might flow through your network that could cause you issues, whether it's an antivirus issue, whether it's someone who's attempting to hack one of your servers, you know, where you find an IPS trigger or something like that. Oops, skipped ahead. Web content filtering, trying to keep you away from going to websites that might have a click-buy issue, where just visiting that website might cause you to download a virus or some sort of malware. Happened on NBC News. Gosh, it's probably been probably 12 months ago, but big sites can become infected, and simply by visiting them, you can, your machine can get infected with malware as well. Integrated wireless LAN controllers, a little bit about IPS, intrusion prevention services, trying to keep people from hacking into your web servers, trying to get into individual clients by doing those drive or those click-buy malwares. Data loss prevention, that would be looking for information flowing in and out of your network based on patterns. So maybe you've got account numbers you don't want going out your network. We can stop that sort of stuff. Is it 9 digits? Does it start with 432? Those sorts of things. And then of course anti-malware, which would be more commonly known as antiviruses, but it's been coined a new term. SDN is a unique position. We've got a lot of experience with network. We've got a lot of experience with security. We've got a managed services portfolio that includes the firewall. We're going to talk about routers here coming up in just a little bit with Gary. We're in a great position to do that for you. We're able to provide that hardware that we talked about at no cost up front, no capital expenditure, just a monthly recurring maintenance fee that we provide to you. We give you the hardware, we spare the hardware, and I'm being told we're running a little short, so I'm going to speed this up. We spare the hardware, and we can get all of those services for one low monthly price so that you don't have to pay for that. You don't have to buy the hardware up front, and you don't have to continue to maintain all that hardware. We do that for you. If a device were to fail, which it does, hardware fails, we all know that, we have spares on hand in our facility that we can bring to you on a spur of the moment. Now, if you're living in Rapid City, it might take us a little longer to get it there, but if you were working across town, it's something we can probably have you up and going within an hour or two. We do full configuration backups of all of your devices so that if something were to break, if something were to, if it were a flood, if it were a fire, we've got off-site backups of all of your configurations. So running through this quickly, we've got remote viewing and management. We monitor your devices from our NSC facility, the Network Surveillance Center, which is at SDN, where we've got dedicated people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, who are watching those logs that I talked about a little while earlier. They're looking for things that are going wrong. They're looking for IPS triggers that might be set off. We're looking for viruses that might be going through your network. One of our big ones, and Paul and I, we've had this conversation a couple of times, is what happens when a device on your network gets hit with a botnet. If you get infected and you've got now a botnet on your network that's attempting to send traffic out, we can see that because we're monitoring your gateway. We can see all the traffic going in and out. So we'll give you a call. We'll say, hey, you've got a botnet on machine IP address, blah, blah, blah. We need you to go fix that. Let us know when it's done, and we will unblock that from sending out any more malicious traffic. And we also give you the ability to do this. One of the things that we hear about, we hear a concern is that people don't want to lose complete control over their network. And that's one thing we want to make sure you guys are aware of. You have complete control. We don't say no. We'll maybe consult with you. We'll maybe give you reasons why you wouldn't want to make a decision that you might be making. But if you want to make a bad decision, as Ryan says, we might have you sign a piece of paper, but we'll let you make that bad decision. So you have complete control over your security policy. However, we'll work with you, we'll consult with you, and we'll tell you why things are good or bad at the time. We'll also give you a portal. A way to look at what your device is doing. Now this is a simplified view, but you can see things. You can see the CPU, you can see the memory, you can see bandwidth through each individual interface. You can run reports. If you subscribe to our Tier 3 level, you can say, where did Joe go yesterday on the internet? Why was he so unproductive? Or why was he so productive? You can say, what applications have been traversing my network through the DMZ? We give you full ability and full visibility into your device in order to see all of those various UTM features.
All right, thank you, Amos.
You bet.